Sound. Did it turn on yet? Sound? We're here? Are we there? We're here. Okay. Oh boy, that was almost... Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know you, but when it comes up suspected spam, you gotta really unblock your number. Or I won't answer your call. Take your pick. Alright, so we got two, count them, 1, 2 revisits today that we got to do. And it's going to be tough to show you. I'll just show you the best I can. Let me see if I can do this. We'll erase the user, but I can't really feed this signal out. I can't really feed the signal out to the live stream, to what you're seeing. For some reason, the Elgato cam links do not like PlayStation 3s and PlayStation 4s. I've tried everything. Every possible resolution, different HDMI cables, nothing will let me send these game consoles out. So let's do this. Play as a guest, let's do that. Do not sign in. Okay, so here's what's up. What camera? Did we grab the bird's eye view camera? I do have it marked, and if I don't move it around too much, it'll come back. So the PlayStation 4 is this one here. You might remember it. I'll show you the case. Right there is, this is that PlayStation 4 working. I just signed in as a guest basically to get to that point. Alright, let's put this back now. Kinda. Alright, so that was working. There were combination of two things. Something somebody else had worked on was a failed job that needed repaired, and then also the original chip that I got was not good. I think somebody actually sent a used chip instead of new. I got a replacement for that, put it on, PlayStation 4 working again. So just to go over that, HDMI port replacement and the HDMI encoder IC, it's working. So that's one down. We're going to take and reassemble this thing quick. First I'm going to turn it off, but you saw it working. How do you turn these off? With the button? Hold the button? Is that it? This is a quick menu. Use it to access various PS4 features more easily. Alright, let's go back. Power. Turn off PS4. Alright, so we're turning this thing off. Let's go over to our above camera. We're going to zoom it out, hopefully. Is that all the further it goes? Really? Okay. Alright, so we have our fan spinning down. You should remember this one. It was actually the one that was this theme. And it changes color as you turn it down away from the light. It's funny. That's about the real color of it, if you can see here. It's definitely not yellow like that appears to be. So let's put this back together. And continue on our way. That's that part. We have a few things to assemble here. If you've never ripped one of these apart, it can be daunting with the screws. You have, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think 5 or 6 different types of screws. Or really, you have 3 different types. There are a lot of, and then you have, I think, 2 more types beyond that just back off. 2 more types that there are only a couple of. Alright, so that's 1 and 2. We need this metal piece. Our 3 screws are in for our power supply, so let's put our trim plate back in. Put these together. So, 1 console functioning. We're going to go for 2 today, and then get on to the actual point. Where is that? There's that piece. So you'll need Phillips that's not too big or too small. Or you can use like a PH1, PH2, and then a slightly smaller one. And then you'll also need a T8 for some of your screws. Alright, now we can put the bottom on. Or put the metal trim plate in. We had to reattach that little metal piece that sits here under this plastic trim. And what that does is gives you the threads for this piece here. Let me see if I can find this other faulty. Oh yeah. So there, let's try and take a look for a moment. Oh, it's the modem in, duh. Okay, that should work now. Got it. Okay, finally. After a year of trying. So here's the little chip that was replaced. QFN. If we can get it to focus, that is. It's got a bunch of tiny pins around the edge. QFN quad flat. And I forget what the N is. Is it a QFN or QFP? I don't know. I can't remember. I don't remember these things. I just know a little bit about it. Anyhow, a pain to solder. If you are going to undertake one of those, make sure you have the right temperature for doing it, or enough temperature, I should say. You got this huge ground pad underneath that's separate from all the little pins that need soldered on. Alright, throw that and go back to the reassembly on this. See, the first one's bad, second one right on, good to go. Power supply is in. Let's go for how many of those are there? Two? Two. At home I have a, oh, what is the thing called? I can never remember the name of it. Hopog, however you say it. I have one of those. It's an old USB 2.0 capture card. But I'll tell you what, you can run anything basically. It's not going to complain about it. It will just work. So I think I don't really use that. I quit using like a mirrorless camera at home and just swapped over to a webcam for whenever I do anything there, which is rare. But I'm no longer using that external capture device, so I could definitely bring it down for such instances where the cam link and OBS won't pick up game. Kind of, I think the Xbox did work, but the PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4 both failed to go into the cam link and out OBS to the stream. However, that's just with OBS in the cam link and OBS accessing the cam link. Maybe if I used the stock Elgato software or went into the settings and changed something, I could get it to work. I haven't even looked at that yet. I try to stay away from that software, just not a huge fan of it. Not that it's not good, it is, but it likes to hijack your audio though. And that's the point, I guess, really, that I'm not a fan of. If you start it up and then you forget your audio is going to be going into it and you can't access it elsewhere, yeah, no thanks. Let's see what we can do with these stickers. Are they actually going to stick and go back on where they were? Doubtful. Maybe. Okay. Right. And there you have it. That's PlayStation 4. It got hit by a power surge. I can't speak as to whether the HDMI port took damage from the power surge. I know the HDMI encoder IC definitely took damage. It was replaced. The first one did not work. Attempted a reflow on the original, didn't work. Pulled the original, put it back on. Pulled the original, put the first one ordered on. That got pulled, and put a second chip on, and got working. Plus the HDMI port. Alright. Coming up. Alright. I'm gonna make some room for the next console to come over there. What happened there? Oh, I get it. Okay. I get it. I get it. I get it. Is this R1? Yes, it is. This is the one. I'm going to take and do this quick, and then we'll get to that. Alright, and I do believe this next one, we did something about this on stream. However, I think where we had to leave it was we had, let's get this out of the way now. I think we had the wireless only controller, which did us no justice. We couldn't do what we needed to do with a wireless controller with a dongle. Had it been an original wireless controller that had a USB port, would have been more beneficial to what we were trying to do. So eventually we did get our hands on one of these. The owner of the console brought this in. We're going to go ahead and get this up and running now. Like I said, sadly, we can do nothing about running this out to the stream right now. Let's plug in our HDMI and get some power to our console. And we're going to turn it on and see what happens on the TV. Is that the right cable? It is. Okay, so our PlayStation comes up. The file system on storage is corrupted and will be restored. So let's find out what happens next. We're going to go ahead and hit OK. How do we do this? Go to the bird's eye view, and I guess we swing the Sony out of the way and go. It's a crap view, but that's where we're at. We're at 18%. I don't think this is going to repeat. When it was brought in, it was said about updates. So that's definitely not an update. That's talking about a file system is corrupted and needs to be restored. We're going to let that run through and see, does it have a sticking point? Is it going to complete? If it does complete, I know what we can do from here on out. They brought it in saying that it need updated and the update would stick. That started with file system corrupted. So alright, let's move this out of the way where we can actually work on something else here. Boy, I don't like these HDMI cables at all. More to the point, this is what was in the thumbnail. Okay, we've got a MacBook here. Where's our little logo? Can we reuse that? Okay, so we've got a MacBook Pro. This is I'm trying to think of, what now, A1398 MacBook Pro. It has a fresh install of Mac OS on it. Not what the user wants. They want Windows only. How can we do this? There's a couple ways we could take and I think shrink the system partition as small as we could and then use the remaining space on the drive to install Windows 2. You could also install it using a program such as Parallels. What that does is basically a Mac virtual machine. It boots up a virtual version of Windows that you have installed, and you can copy from Windows and paste the file to Mac and back and forth from Mac to Windows. You can go both ways with it. Pretty neat, but again, you're still running Mac OS and you have a virtual Windows. You don't have the same, I don't know if they worked out 3D support for it or not, so that could be an issue. And then or you could use any other VM if they have them on Mac. I know they have Parallels Desktop. I'm thinking maybe a Mac OS version of VirtualBox or VMware at least. Third and final way is where you wipe it out completely and put only Windows on it. We're going to run down that road and see what we can do to do that. Now, you don't have the added benefit of having the Mac OS with the drivers, so your trackpad, Wi-Fi, and everything else works like normal. But you can't get those drivers. You need to download a version of Boot Camp for your computer, one that's compatible with it, and your drivers will all be right there. So let's see if we can get this computer wiped out. Start it up. Alright, and this I'm fairly certain we can send out. Yes, it will mirror. So we definitely do have OS 10 running. And like I said, you could use disk utility. I think to shrink the drive, but we're definitely not doing it this way. You could do it with Boot Camp as another way. Boot Camp would do that. It would shrink the partition for you. And then you could install Windows. And then you would choose your startup disk, whether you want it to start to Mac or you want it to start to the actual Windows system partition. We're not going to do that. Finder, can I not clear as you? Let's get our install. 1064. We're at 48% on the PS3. What are you stuck on? Alright, we're plugged in. We're going to go ahead and let Windows, we're going to start up from Windows Install Media, which means restarting, and we're going to hold Alt after we do the restart, or power off and then start up. We're just going to do the install like normal. I wonder if this will work. Let's try it. Let's try it. Probably not. Probably need an OS for it to go out. Give us some options. Alright, so we have our untitled Mac hard drive here. Should be able to do something. We've got the untitled Mac hard drive. We have Windows and EFI boot. We're going to try and boot to the Windows install media right now. Do I need to hit? Oh, okay. Maybe I had to hit enter. It's been a while since I've done a Windows only on a Mac, so I hope this actually works the way I'm thinking it should. Alright, so far so good. We're booting the Windows. Does it feed it out the HDMI port? Not a chance. So we're going to have to do the overhead view as most other cases. Alright, man, well, you have a good evening. I hope you feel a little better anyhow.
See you later.
Did you order that for me? Alright, we're up to the Windows install here. We're going to go ahead and hit next and install now. I'm going to try and explain this. Hopefully it makes sense. we're going to say, I don't have a product key because we don't have it on hand. But we do have one. I'm going to go ahead and put 10 home on it. Do this part. Now, when it comes up for when we get to where we can partition the drive and delete stuff, hopefully we may need to. Okay, so we don't have to pull the drive. We have the EFI system partition, the unallocated space, which isn't a lot, and then partition 2, which is the bulk of the drive. Oh boy. Okay. I'm trying to remember if last time I did this, if I left the EFI partition. I don't think we can access the part of the hard drive within the Windows Boot Manager that lets it that keeps the computer booting. We definitely can't wipe out the the unallocated space is going to join together here and here. Alright, and then EFI, let's just delete it just to find out. At this point, I'm not sure. We'll try it. I'm going to see what is actually functional just so I know. So it's been probably 2 to 3 years since I've done this, and this isn't a real common thing that I've done a lot of. You know what? Let's do that. We already deleted those. They should be written to disk. Make sure you want to quit. Yes. Let's close this. Sure want to cancel Windows installation? Yes. And we're going to hold Alt whenever this MacBook Pro boots up and see what comes up. Okay, so not a whole lot. We don't have our drive there. We don't have anything, but it is going to let us choose a network. Let's do that. Did we get the password? Sure, we did. Alright, internet recovery. So we deleted every partition. We had 128 megabytes of free space, unallocated space on our SSD in this MacBook Pro. We had the system partition where Mac OS was installed, and then we had the EFI partition. We deleted all of it to do our Windows installation. This will still come up, your MacBook will still come up to an internet recovery state at that point if you delete those partitions and change your mind, want to go back to Mac OS. From this point you can recover it. We're not going to do that. We're actually going to power off, and we're going to try and start up. Hopefully we can start up from the Windows install. We might have to do the recovery since I did just kind of cancel that installation if it can't see the drive, but it should. We're going to try it. Alright, so here we have our Windows and our EFI boot. Let's go for Windows. Alright, it is booting. Wish us luck, here we go. So basically like installing on any other computer, go in, format your drive, pick the empty unallocated space to install Windows to, and then you got to get boot camp and get the drivers. Our PlayStation 3 kind of just went over to a black screen. We can get some snow and it just goes to a black screen. We're going to hit our power button to see. Okay, so nothing going on there. It did just at some point freeze on the updates. Instead of playing with the drive, where it freezes and gets to the screen because it's stuck. It says the file system is corrupted. It can't make it through restoring the file system. What that generally points to is an error with the drive. Install now. What we can do is we're going to try and boot this PlayStation 3 in safe mode. So we're going to turn it off first. Hold the button down until it turns off. Alright, we're now off. Let's get this Windows install. Windows 10 Home underway on our happy little MacBook. Custom install. And we're back to our drive with unallocated space. We're just going to go ahead and hit next because we want to use all that space for Windows. We really don't want to boot up to Mac at all. This user here doesn't, so. Alright, back to, and we're kind of straighten this out a little bit. Back to our PlayStation 3. With it plugged in an off state where you may have a red light, you're going to take and hold it down, and you're going to get a beep and then another beep. When you get two quick beeps, it may, that didn't sound right. Oh, okay. After you hold it down, you'll get a beep, and then you'll get the two quick, like, doo-doo, quick beeps. It'll tell you to connect the controller using a USB cable and then press the PS button. We've done that with this one. We're going to press it. We're now in safe mode. We're going to see if we can restore the file system. Wow, which one do we want to do? Restore file system, rebuild database, restore PS3 system update. It said the file system was corrupted, so we're going to take and try and restore the file system. We're going to hit yes and see what happens. Preparing, please wait. If this fails, trying to restore the file system on the storage, then good indication there's a problem with the hard drive. We're going to pull the drive, put another drive in, and boot up into safe mode and restore the file system onto the new drive that is functioning. Alright, what else can we do? We've got stuff here. We might as well keep going. What time is it? It's 6. We've got a little bit yet. However, we're out of room on this bench. You don't go there, you go over here. You crazy? Wait a minute, we can save some room, probably not enough. We are going to... Can you turn these things on their side safely without hurting anything? Sure you can. It's PlayStation 3. Alright. Let's get our Happy Mac out of the way. We don't need this because we're not going out to the OS anytime soon. We need a whole Windows install to complete, and then some stuff further from that. However, what happens if we do that? That gives us a little more room overhead to see what's going on. Alright, so eventually I did battle with this thing. We'll swing this in real quick to show you. Did do battle with this laptop. I got that key holder on. Our page down key now functions, so he got a key returned. It's going to be nothing special. Alright, Mac, what are you doing? Is that install complete already? seen it happen a few times where when it boots up, even after Windows is installed, when it boots, it's got to go through that blank screen state where you can kind of tell the screen's lit up, nothing is on it, but then it starts booting into Windows, which is the case here. Doesn't do it 100% of the time. It seems more from a cold boot or restarts is when it tends to do that. Alright, that install is finishing. We'll go get our boot camp drivers here soon. Right now we need a power supply for, what is that thing? It's a tiny Dell HP. Need a power supply. We're going to do this on the back counter, just because we're out of room. Mistaken, this one should be actually kind of crazy fun. It's blue screening and freezing up and all kinds of good stuff. We may end up pulling the drive from that red HP and scanning it as an external to get some of the main junk out of it. What's the password for this? Where is the paper? That's not it. That's that. That is that. Is it? Not it. Not it. Not it. Alright, so Windows is installed. We'll move on with that in a moment. I need one piece of paperwork. Wrong one. I wonder if that's what I did. I think I did. I put the wrong paper on this one. Or I threw it away. That's a good possibility too. Alright, let's continue with this. Preparing, please wait on our PlayStation 3, yes, for United States. And I don't know how much we're going to use right click on this, but it's a Mac, so we got one trackpad, we don't have the software set up, we're getting a mouse to use on this thing. Yes. Skip. Let's connect you to network. Skip for now. That way we can do a local sign-in. Don't make me choose. No. Alright, we're doing no password. Secure, I know, but no security questions when you choose no password. Hello. Alright. So far so good. We'll find out about the PlayStation. My guess is it would start with the file system errors when you just power it up normal, start repairing, go to a black screen and not do anything. The user reported when they brought it in that it was trying to update, not fix the file system, unless they just never read it and it looks like the update screen, which could be the case. In that case, it's never completing. They said it would stick and go to a black screen, which kind of resembles what happened here. Never finished, went to a black screen, and I'm saying that hard drive, maybe not malfunction completely dead, because it does spin up, does attempt to do something. If this doesn't complete or show some sign of completing at some point, we're going to go ahead and swap the hard drive out, whether it be today or tomorrow, I don't know. Because I did the PS4 when I upgraded the one in my wife's PlayStation 4, and that was just torturous waiting on that one. I think I tried to do part of it on the live stream, and it was just to no end. Alright, we're to a desktop. Now we need boot camp. Let's go explore and figure out how to find boot camp for this MacBook. Downloads. Search downloads. 515769. 22769. We have a lot here. I'm not entirely sure which one it is. Give me a moment. I'm going to take a look. I do believe I have one of these downloaded. We're going to take a look in my downloads. Actually, it's not even there. It would be on the storage drive. Alright, so we need to go take a look at our all-in-one. That's where most of our storage is. And it's not in the M. Let's take a look back on this computer. Okay, so I found the bootcamp file. It is 515769 is our compatible one, so that would be in our list here. Our first one. we're going to take, we already have it downloaded and extracted. Let's do that and grab what do we have that's quick and not going to take an eternity to transfer to. Let's see, what's on the yellow one? Does the yellow one even work? It likes to fail a lot. We do have some stuff. Okay. Send to USB drive J. Roughly a gig being sent over. We'll let that do that and go back to our bird's eye view. PlayStation is still preparing. We got a spinner. I'm not an expert with game consoles. I have a very kindergarten understanding of these things. Matter of fact, there's probably some kindergartners that know more about repairing game consoles than I do. I haven't the faintest clue, usually. No. Look at that funny boy. Alright. Just curious, without any drivers, let's see what is available on our Mac. We're going to go into Device Manager and see what it recognizes just with Windows 10, what hardware. So display adapter, Microsoft Basic, you can believe that's not going to work. We're missing Bluetooth, the Ethernet, the camera, the wireless, and something else, PCI communication. I'm guessing that is possibly audio. Is audio in here? Did we get audio with it? Audio appears to be high definition audio device. So it's functioning with a very generic driver at the moment. Let's do our test. Can we HDMI out to OBS with a generic driver? I don't think so. No such luck. Let's try it. Okay. Multiple displays detect. Yes, didn't detect. Alright. Our transfer is working on the main computer, as you can see. We're going to at least get wireless. This thing doesn't even have Ethernet, does it? No. I was going to say. So we got Thunderbolt, USB, the audio, and also it looks like our touch link is enabled. We got a red light coming out of this little, beating up a MacBook. Can you see the red light in the audio port? I'm trying to show you. It's definitely red coming out of there. So that means the optical audio is enabled. I don't know. I think that will go out once we get the proper driver in. If it doesn't, I'm not certain which models. I have to look it up, but I know there's some where you can kind of stick something in there, and a headphone jack, and spin it one way or the other, and it switches it off. Maybe that's a myth, and I just made that up, but I don't think so. I've never actually had to do that where you switch it off. I'm pretty sure it's a symptom of not having the proper driver. Well, man, 1 gig of data. It shouldn't be too hard. I realize you're like early, first generation USB 3. You're like USB 2.5 and a half. I hope I didn't do nothing dumb. Drop the frames. 55. Let's do some Googling real quick here before we kill the stream. And we did what? File system. How long to restore file system on PS3. What is their guesstimate? Shouldn't take any longer than 5 minutes. Longest restore file system was 1.5 hours. Let's see what Reddit says. Can you get credible information from Reddit? I don't know these things. Okay, so for Booty, it usually just takes a few minutes. PS3 says it can take hours though. It depends on, in part, on how big your hard drive is. But even if you have a 1 terabyte hard drive, I would not think it would take longer than 24 hours. 500 gig, 320 gig hard drive here, and it takes 2 or 3 minutes, and it's almost full. 120 gig, peasant, I know, and it takes less than 5 minutes each time I need to restore. Quite a while on his 80 gig, blah 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 blah. Okay, so I'm going to say some issues. Let's try and do this PlayStation 3 some justice before we cut this stream. We have this, we have our transfer working. It's certainly almost done. Almost. 30 seconds. We'll let that finish. We're going to go back here and we're going to power this thing down. This is only a mere 160 gig hard drive. Alright, can we find a trusty black mat? Indeed we can. We got the trusty black mat. We're going to need a Phillips. Let's get our Super Sony camera. We have to swing a different way tonight. It's going to be all skewed, but that's fine. Let's get back into our PS4, remove the blue screw, or PS4, PS3, remove the blue screw. We're going to try another hard drive, and it may not work. This is just a blank formatted hard drive. We got to swap our tray. Happened to you? There you are. Alright, so we're going from a Toshiba over to, get this last screw, from a Toshiba over to, people call them HGST, which is accurate. That's what's on the label, but it is Hitachi Global Star Technologies, I believe. I could be ill-informed on that one. Either way, we're going to try this to see if it just takes a couple minutes. I'm guessing no, because there's absolutely nothing on here. The owners of it said they tried to get it going, this PlayStation 3 here, so I think it's safe to say that they probably tried booting in safe mode, didn't get anything accomplished there. See what we can do. Alright, back at it. I'm going to keep it on its side for now. Plug in power, get our HDMI. Going to hold our power. We should get a beep and then 2 quick beeps. There's one. Alright, so that's back off. We're going to do the same thing, hold it. And booting into safe mode. Connect the controller with the USB cable. As per the instructions on screen, hit the PlayStation button. We are going to... Let's restore the file system and see what happens. Yes. Serious error has occurred. Okay, so maybe we need to go back. They're telling me contact technical support. Let's do this over. Turn off. On. Hopefully we can get our 2 beeps. We're going to try and restore the PS3 system first, being that it's a blank hard drive. On. Should get a beep and then 2 beeps. Safe mode. Hit the button. Let's restore the PS3 system, see if that works. If you format, all data will be deleted. This data cannot be restored. Are you sure you want to continue? Yes. We're going to do it on the new hard drive in case there's anything good on the old one that we can possibly transfer. Restoring default settings. Do not turn off the system. We got a spinner going, so we're going to let that ride. We can continue this Windows only on a Mac tomorrow. Let's go back to the bird's eye view. Our USB drive is in. We're going to get our Wi-Fi. How do we get new folder? There's our folder. We're going to open that up and get our Windows Explorer, USB drive, boot camp drivers, and it's going to be Broadcom wireless Win864. This is Windows 10. We're going to try and load this one. I accept. Broadcom BCM43XX and ready to use. Do we have Wi-Fi anywhere? No. Intel chipset. Let's go for setup. Yes. We'll do a reboot and see. Yeah, we don't have a Wi-Fi key on our top row on this. Connect using the control. The system software cannot be run correctly. Press the PS button to try to restart the system. Reinstall the system software. Update data version 484 or later, then press the start or select buttons at the same time. Okay, so press the PS button, and then I have to restart the system, possibly. So I'm going to have to get update. What is that? You get an update, put it on USB. Yeah, okay. So I need to get this contains storage media that contains update data of version 484 or later, and then press the start and select buttons at the same time. So that's PlayStation 3 continued tomorrow. This one also going to be continued tomorrow. We're not going to run through getting all the drivers, but I want to see if we can get HDMI out and Wi-Fi. We'll do a reboot and see what happens. Let's look at our drivers. We are in drivers Intel, Apple Display Installer. Oh, so we were muted. Okay. All right. PS3, we need system update data on a storage device 484 later. We're going to do that tomorrow. We did Intel, some type of Intel driver, and it didn't work. We're going to try and point, cancel, cancel, cancel. From device manager, we're going to try and point. Nope, there it is. Intel HD Graphics 64. Display audio graphics. Alright, let's try and point device manager to that folder we just copied over to the desktop to see if it can grab a driver. Update driver. Update, browse my computer, let me pick, have disk, it was what, desktop, users, desktop, boot camp, WinPE, Intel HD graphics 64, graphics, I don't think that's right, but let's try it. Worst it does is crash. HD graphics 4000. Next. I'm gonna hit no till I confirm what graphics are in this thing. A1398, A1398. Has no GPU. Let's look at the processor quick and see. I guess we just need device manager, processor. 37. So what is that on 3740 QM? Excuse me. That's actual. 3740 QM CPU graphics. HD graphics 4000. Alright, we're going to take the risk. We're going to install the goofy driver. HD 4000. Next, yes. If it blue screens and crashes, it does. If it doesn't, that means it took it. And we'll think we'll end it there. Wi-Fi, not too. Yeah, still no Wi-Fi, so we'll get that tomorrow. We'll end it with graphics. Very nice. Okay. Let's hit close, close. Everything went to a nice resolution that looks proper. Alright, so we have an exclamation point with our Intel HD. We need the software that goes with it. Let's look for the setup file. We'll run it while we're here. Speaking of, detect, didn't detect. Sign out now. Let's sign back in. Alright, I give. I'm not gonna riddle out graphics right now. Graphics drivers are, yeah, all the drivers. Macbook tomorrow with boot camp. Fun, can't wait to do that. We're just gonna turn off our PS3 for now and set it down. That way it doesn't go all tipsy-topsy and flip over on us. We'll power it off. We need update 484 later. I will get that tonight. See if I can figure out a way to format it, download it, power off. You blasted thing. Anyhow, while we're waiting on this PlayStation 3 to shut off, have a good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whatever time it happens to be when you get to this. Enjoy it. If this is your thing, you share it, get it out there. Share this, get this out there, please. Learn something new today. Anyhow, thank you for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.